Live.
Welcome back to Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, and once again I'm joined by Jim Simonetti, Lawrence Conley and Danny Kelly. Lawrence, what did you make of the first half?
Excellent performance. It's good that we're pressing. Probably dropped the tempo in the last 10 minutes. 3 tackles from Duffy, 3 fouls against him. I'll be in a Yeti, not yet 90 minutes of first team football, 3 goals. I think there's a lot to be satisfied. Frimpong, as Jim predicted, he's just running in the right wing. He's just running out there. They're having to put 2 or 3 players on him. I think, we'll see more goals second half.
Now, Lawrence has mentioned Duffy, and I think we predicted that during the week as well, Danny, with regards to the fact that the minute he goes near somebody, he's going to be penalised. It's happened 3 times. The next time it happens, I'm pretty sure he'll be booked. Have you been impressed with the back 3? They're a new combination at the back. Have you been impressed with that?
Yeah, very much so. It's good. Barkas still looks extremely sketchy, even though they've added in a well-seasoned defender in Duffy. But I think there's going to take a couple of games to get into the full swing of it. But I've got the confidence there that it'll be good.
Yeah.
There'll be a fair few clean sheets, I think, off the back of this. Mm-hmm. So hopefully it stays that way.
We were speaking before the game about some of the criticism that we've heard against Barkas. He pulled off a few saves there.
He did, but let's be honest, that first free kick, that cross, the wind took it, and he was still a bit asleep when it cracked against the post. And I mean, if you're any type of goalkeeper, all you need to do is run a wee bit forward, 2 hands up, and it's in your hands, and you're basically playing a counter-attack.
Still seems to be a no man's land between him and the back line. Just now they've just not got maybe their distancing right.
Yeah.
But that'll come with time. You know, he'll know when to come or whether they're going to drop for it.
Listen, I'm not for a moment suggesting that I agree in any way, shape or form with Chris Commons or anyone else who has been criticising Barkas over the last couple of weeks. In actual fact, it came out of the blue for me. I was quite surprised that he was getting the flack. Obviously, we've also heard about Foster not being the first choice number 1 at Southampton. Neil Lennon seems to be happy with his transfer dealing so far. He was saying yesterday, Danny, he's happy with what he's brought in. There might be a few more deals, but there was nothing specific. If there was a deal on the table to bring Foster in on loan, would you still bring him in and have the 3 goalkeepers in the first team squad?
Yeah, absolutely. But I think Barkas would be my 3rd. I've always, since day one, I've loved Scott Bain. I think he's competent, he's good, he's strong, and he's reliable. I mean, don't get me wrong. Every goalkeeper in the history of any team makes their mistakes, but he got dropped in at the deep end against Rangers and had an absolutely fantastic game, and he's had some incredible games since then. But I would take Forrester definitely to be number 1 if he's at the club.
It also kind of reopened a debate that we've been having for the last couple of weeks with regards to Neil Lennon saying that he's quite happy with the transfer business that he's done. We're watching that game out there. I think he's going to run with the 3 at the back, but as Jim suggested earlier, you need to have the personnel to adapt to a back 4, and if we do that, we've only got Greg Taylor.
Absolutely, but I was taking a wee bit of a surprise with Duffy going to right centre back, guys. I had them Julian in there and Duffy at the centre back, but I think in a previous report, myself, Paul and Stevie, we kind of spoke about a formation, and I actually had a Julian and Aya playing together. So that would look, could mean Aya could drop into the left back position, Julian is left centre back, Duffy right centre back, and who would go into that right back position. But it's quite interesting. So we can throw things around about here, but I'm quite happy with the performance. I think Frimpong has been magic going up that channel, just as we said. And do you know what I like today? Not so much checking back, directness, bang into the box, get it delivered. But when he's delivering it, Paul, the guys have got to be there. They've got to put away. So he's done his job, and I think he's done well. Delighted the young lad started, and you said it earlier as well, Danny. So thoroughly delighted with Celtic being up 2-0 at this particular time. Are we going to see a wee change? Are we settled enough to make to keep it, or maybe later on in the game? What do you think? A change then? Could we see Paul Turnbull Could we see it?
I'd like to see him in action, and also, to be fair to Sorrow, it would be nice to see what Sorrow brings to the party. Again, I wouldn't be making any substitutions at this stage. Hopefully we'll get another goal, especially for your bet, Danny, 6-0. And if we do, even 55 minutes in, make a couple of changes. Bring in a couple of these fringe guys, give them some minutes.
One more goal's even better for my bet, 3-0.
Yeah, I know.
Scorer.
You're right. The other thing, there's a point being made here in relation to the refereeing. Don't want to labour the fact, but it is a good point. There was a couple of occasions with Frimpong and Ayeti, that had it been at the other end of the park, they're being penalised. Lawrence, you picked up on that yourself.
Yeah, Ayer was booked.
Good point.
For a similar tackle happened as we were going up the left wing, but the guy caught him with the left and then his right foot. Free kick to Celtic, but no booking. Yep. You're going, catching him with the second leg's definite, he's no mistimed it. He's meant to bring this guy down. He's meant to hit him with it. You're going, well, you booked Ayer for less.
Do you think Celtic look fresh? Do you think they look relaxed today?
No.
Yeah.
I think what we're seeing, and I mentioned this in the first during the first half talking to Lawrence, I think what we're seeing is we're seeing Neil Lennon finally crafting his own side. And when I was watching that game, I was thinking back to Neil Lennon Mark 1 in actual fact. With regards to playing two up front, I hope that's here to stay. You've mentioned there with Ayeti, people have compared him to the Gary Cooper type striker, the boy that's going to score a goal a game. And when you're looking at the fact he's probably only played 90 minutes, somebody out there might be able to tell us exactly how many minutes he's played. 3 goals already, what a return.
Without doubt. I think you're right. It's Glenn's team again. Get the ball up quicker. We're a bit ponderous. We have been ponderous for a few seasons. We're now moving that ball quicker. Frimpong with his pace, you've hit it, he's driving into the box. We're getting 2 forwards in the box. We're turning teams, they're getting under pressure quicker. They're not getting a chance to set themselves for us. It's easy if you're kind of going, they're taking their time, get everybody behind the ball. Watch the channels, watch our men. They're getting into position, the opposition.
Correct, Lawrence. But in a good team and attacking at pace are not going to give their team time to settle in and get organised. If you're constantly hitting them, they're going to be in the back foot. And if you're hitting them from all angles, then they're no settling. So the wee guy's done brilliant. I think he's done great the first half.
Tell you what else I looked at Jetty. Near the end of the first half.
Yeah.
Come back, defending, closing the guy down, defending. You're kind of going, he's willing to cover the yards.
I think he's getting that fitness now, isn't he?
Well, he was back at the right back position. Back in where Frimpong was, he's coming back to give him a hand.
Yeah.
You're kind of looking and going, right, you're starting to see the team knitting together better.
Mm-hmm. See, I think for me, personally, I see that they're great in attack, a little bit sluggish in defence. The midfield seems to be nice and strong, seeking out passes and getting ready to play. But then the clinical finishing and your last third defending is just, I don't know what's happening. Don't get me, the passing's great, the runs are being made, but then as you said earlier, when Frimpong gets into the box, he's passed it in, he's done his job. Who's there to take it?
Now, interestingly enough, we have got something coming back to us with regards to the minutes that Ayer's played. Before I go on to that, Kieran has pointed out he's got 3 goals from about 4 chances. And that's as important as the minutes he's playing.
Definitely.
He's one of these guys who is going to be prolific. And, I think we're looking at his fitness. I'm not actually convinced there was a huge problem with his fitness. I don't know why we've not played him sooner. But then Kevin Selk comes in to say that Ayer played a totally 56 minute. I think Ajeti, I think he's probably played a wee bit more than 56 minutes, isn't he?
Is it 45 there? Maybe he's talking about 56 minutes over the other 2 games plus the 45.
Yeah.
Was that 101?
101 minutes.
3 goals a game, I'll take that. So yeah, keep your comments coming in. We're going to be here all day, and we've not decided yet when Danny's going to get the guitar out. We've seen a few suggestions coming in for songs, Danny, but it'll come down to you ultimately in the end, and we'll get you rigged up at some stage. Kevin Graham, you're often in the studio when we're watching the games. Happy with the score, not with the performance or balance in the side. Formation or implementation of the formation is woeful. Would you agree with that, anyone?
No. I don't know if maybe I'm watching a different game. I think on that. I think the forwards are working well, the defence is working well, midfield's working well.
Paul, who was that?
That was your Kev.
Or Kev. No,
Kev.
oh, Kevin. You're 1-2-0. You've got at the moment, you've got the 3 points in the bag. You've got to be happy with that. All you've got to do is get the 3 points. We spoke about this at the beginning of the season. I don't care. It's my personal opinion. I don't care how we get the 3 points. Where we play, whatever way we play, as long as we get them. I think Celtic have played well. I don't think they're woeful.
I don't think so either.
Sorry, Kev, but I don't think that at all.
And there's another thing. When do you want your team to be hitting top form? Beginning of the season or in the run into the title? You know, when the pressure's on.
Aye.
Alex Ferguson used to talk about that, managing the team to their top form for the back end of the season.
Yep.
When the trophies are getting handed out. That's when because you can't hit top form through a 60-game season every game.
No,
Every game. I think they've been good. It's been a performance in the games. It's been an improvement in the previous games.
Well, Frederick Yamstam, who's commenting on YouTube, he says he's just in from work. Are we that bad? No, I don't think we are that bad. I think it's been a fairly competent performance. You're looking at a Yeti's performance as being one of the high points, I would suggest.
I've got the exact minutes.
Right, here we go.
So 80 minutes total time in the Premier League this season, and he scored 3 goals.
Brilliant. I'm
And he's
delighted
played
with that.
26 in the Champions League.
Oh, I'm delighted with that. So I think when you're looking at Yet, and the point's been made on some of the comments coming through, Klamala might get some minutes today. How far away is Lee Griffiths from making a reappearance on that bench for Celtic?
I think not at this point now, it's more Lennon's trying to make a point. I don't think it's about whether he's good enough or not. I think he's basically saying that obviously we've got Griffiths having the party and then the man who shall not be named heading off to Spain. And it's you have to punish them. You can't be letting them see that they're getting away with it, because then the other players, obviously, I know that they probably would take it seriously, but it might not be. And I just don't want that risked, because this season's far too important for that.
In fairness, we don't need to punish when the Scottish Government decides to punish Celtic.
Well,
You know, if I'm Aberdeen, I'm raging my games get postponed, because they weren't going to get punished until Bongola steps out of line. It certainly wasn't a public health issue, because there's St Mirren with 3 players with COVID. Their games go ahead.
Yep.
So it's just, we'll punish Celtic. If you're Aberdeen, you're sitting there and going, if Celtic can't done that, there'd be no punishment to us.
Well, Aberdeen was where the first outbreak was after this all started, and they were the ones who got granted permission for a trial game before Celtic.
Now, you've brought up Bolingoli, so we'll finish the half-time analysis with a question. Do you think, Lawrence, that we will see Bolingoli playing for Celtic this season?
If he's still here at the end of the transfer window, yes.
Honestly,
Danny?
I think we will.
do you think so?
I think we'll need him.
If the rest of the team catch COVID and they've got nobody else to take the field.
We're on the left-hand side, how many options have we got? That's a problem.
I just
if we
find
don't sign other people, we
I
don't
find
have
the
options.
comments yesterday quite interesting from Neil Lennon talking about transfers. You know, it's not as though he was saying we need to still get 1 or 2 in. He was happy with what the business has done. He wasn't completely writing off any further moves. But if we go forward without another left back, there is a huge chance that Bolingoli will play for Celtic again this season. If he does, Jim, what's your thoughts on that? Would you be quite happy to welcome him back, or reluctantly welcome him back?
Reluctant. I know it says there's no sentiments in football, but this is a wee bit different. I just couldn't pick him. I couldn't pick him and put him in my team.
But don't get me wrong, Jim. I'm not saying I would welcome him back, or I would pick him. I'm saying if we don't get another left back in before the end of the transfer window,
We
might need him.
See if he done what he done, right? And then came back, guys, and told the boss what he had done and no go there to jeopardise everything, then yes, absolutely. But let's see how it goes if we're still the same points behind as the season goes, if everybody would still have the same opinion. Or there might be different opinions, Paul. But at the moment, sorry, we're going to run a long way there. My answer is no, I would find a position for somebody else to fit that before I could play him.
Well, Daniel Church has left, and what's Bolingoli going to say?
Another left back. But there's a sad thing. Daniel
20 years
Church,
old.
13 years, been there all that time and never played a first team game. So as when you look at it, if you go into the Celtic youth or any other youth at that level and you're letting your kid go in there, oh, he's playing with Celtic. My son's playing with Celtic. He's playing. I'm sorry, your son's not playing with Celtic. Your son isn't he? Your son's training with Celtic. Right. Until you step on that hallowed ground of paradise, you're not playing for Celtic. So you are training all the time. You might have the kit, you might have be wearing a badge, but you ain't playing for Celtic. You're in there and you're training. And that poor lad, 13 years, wow, it's a long time.
If the season hadn't been cut short, I think we'd still have won the league, yeah?
Aye. Oh, definitely, aye.
Church might have got a chance then.
You could have done. You could have done.
Because we would have wanted to look at him in the first team, surely, but after investing 13 years, before letting him go.
Aye, Lawrence, you're correct, but the same could have applied last year and the year before it.
Aye. Well,
and the year before it. So that's really, I find that really disappointing. Somebody 13 years at the one club and not even getting a game. Me as an individual, would I be there if I wasn't getting a game? Or I don't think so. Maybe, but again, that's just me. I would want a game. I'd go. I need to go.
Two boys have already decided they need to go.
Aye.
They're away to Bayern. With rumours Young Dumbelli's put in a transfer, and he's got a couple of games, but he's not getting enough for developing.
See if he's put a transfer request in. See you later.
Well, we don't have any option. He's in his last year.
Aye.
And you
absolutely.
So we've probably left it too late with him. I think to manage it properly.
But Lawrence, Celtic's done everything for him.
But
everything they could.
But it turns back to how do we manage the players' development into the first team without a reserve league? Daniel Church, 13 years. How are we managing these players' development? How are we getting them into the first team? How are we getting them exposure? And it's the same thing. Celtic might be doing everything they can in the confines just now, but it's proven not to be enough for the two guys that went to Bayern. And if it's true that Dembele goes without it, you're kind of going, well, we need to get away a bridge in this gap. We need to do something.
I know we're going into half time here, Paul, but maybe it's something we can look at later
pick up after the game. Yeah, we're going into the second half, so enjoy the second half, and we'll see you again at half time, full time, where we might get a few tunes from Danny as well. So get your songs, your suggestions in, and Danny will have a look through them. So we'll see you in the second half.